Don't let YouTube decide what information you get. That's your choice. YouTube is deleting our videos and cuts you off from a source of honest reporting. Make sure you don't lose access to NTD's news content, and take a quick moment to subscribe to our newsletter so no matter what happens here, you'll keep your access to a trustworthy news source.
The White House is imposing a new $170 COVID-19 testing fee on reporters who want access to the West Wing, and what critics say is the latest step that restricts press coverage of the Biden administration.
Journalists are required to pay $170 for a CCP virus test to come on White House grounds. The White House Correspondents Association says the charges will harm its members. The association's president, Zeke Miller, sent out an email about the new charges. He says that the White House claims to be making the changes because of budget constraints. He writes, "After all the steps we as a press corps have taken to abide by the new health and safety protocols, we share your frustration that these procedures are changing yet again." Journalists began to gripe after getting the news. They say the cost could price less affluent news organizations out of covering the president. Max Tanney of the Daily Beast tweets, "Bringing truth and transparency back to the briefing room is not making it prohibitively expensive for smaller outlets with tight budgets to go to the White House." The Biden administration has already tightened controls for reporters since coming into office. Only 80 pre-approved journalists can come on White House grounds per day. Each one is required to get a coronavirus test before 1 p.m. Miller says the rules imposed by the Biden administration could harm Americans' rights to quality press coverage.
The Biden administration wants to bring deportees who have been separated from their children back to the U.S. Lawyers representing the families had called on Biden to make the move. Here are the details.
Families that were separated because the parents were deported from the U.S. may be able to reunite. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says deported parents will be able to come back to the U.S. or the children taken to their home countries where their parents are.
We are hoping to reunite the families either here or in the country of origin. We hope to be in a position to give them the election. And if, in fact, they seek to reunite here in the United States, we will explore lawful pathways for them to remain in the United States and to address the family needs, so we are acting as restoratively as possible.
The task force in charge of this will give the reunited migrant families benefits using taxpayer dollars. Those include transportation, health care, legal services, help with their careers, and education. The families will not have to pay for these. Speaking to migrants more broadly, Mayorkas sent them a message telling them to wait before coming to the U.S. while they rebuild the immigration system.
If families come, if single adults come to the border, we are obligated to, in the service of public health, including the health of the very people who are thinking of coming, to impose the travel restrictions under the CDC's Title 42 authorities and return them to Mexico. And we have done that.
Mayorkas claimed there is no crisis at the border, but instead called it a challenge they are managing. And he said their goal is to rebuild an immigration system quickly. He says that's to help migrants get to the U.S. safely and give them humanitarian relief from their home countries. Kevin Hogan, NTD News.
2 lawmakers in Illinois are pushing for sex education to be mandatory in public schools. Proponents say this is an important step forward, while skeptics fear this education promotes only one point of view. NTD's Christina Kim has the story.
Sex education isn't mandatory in Illinois, but it might be in the future. 2 senators are reintroducing the REACH Act, which would require every child in the state's K-12 public school system to get, quote, comprehensive sex education. This includes curriculum that teaches about sexual abuse as well as, quote, health-positive instruction on sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. Abstinence is taught as an option, but so are various forms of birth control.
Inclusion is teaching about and validating different bodies, genders, and sexual orientations.
Proponents say children need to learn what healthy relationships look like to prevent bullying and sexual assault. But some parents are concerned. Jeanette Ward is the former at-large member for one of Illinois' largest school district's school boards. She says sexuality and gender identity are moral issues.
What you're doing is teaching other people's children your morality And that is the purview of parents. It is the right of parents to teach their morality to their children.
And this curriculum's definition of healthy relationships is a subjective one that not everyone may agree with.
Who decides what healthy is, right? I think on this topic, parents ought to be the ones deciding what is healthy.
Planned Parenthood Illinois held a press conference in February promoting the REACH Act. They say the curriculum must be standardized but age appropriate. Here's what they say kindergartners should learn.
They need to learn about things like safe touch and unsafe touch. They need to learn names of body parts, and they need to learn how to be a good friend. And we word these things as good friend, but really we're talking about things like consent and respecting boundaries.
For students in 6th through 12th grade, they would learn to, quote, feel positive about sexual behaviors that are consensual, affirming, and pleasurable. Lori Higgins, a writer for the Illinois Family Institute and a parent herself, says this curriculum teaches healthy sexual behavior from one point of view.
When you take controversial issues and you present only one side and you censor materials from the other side, deeming them unsafe, then you're indoctrinating, you're not educating.
While the REACH Act says it can't promote religious views, it also says it can't stigmatize or use shame-based language on this topic. Higgins says she hopes this means those with conservative or religious views shouldn't be shamed for their beliefs. Christina Kim, NTD News.